Hey everyone, welcome back to Snipa TV. This is your boy Snipa. I got a special guest for 3 episodes. My son, my legacy, Israel. He's going to be supporting me on the next 3 episodes. I want to do a shout out to Nia, Ebony and Carlos, Turtle, Stephiana, Chris, Eli, Pac-Man. Thank all of you for watching and liking and subscribing. And anyone I didn't mention, throw your name in the comments and I'll give you a shout out. Later. I didn't give a fuck if you was a drug dealer. I'm like, fuck you, nigga. I just felt like once I got good, like I remember learning how to box at the same gym as Sugar Ray Leonard. Sugar Ray Leonard used to give me rides home. He had a white New Yorker, and he would drop me off at home.
What's up?
Yeah.
You talk to him about boxing?
Watched him all the time. I was like, how the fuck he make his sweat pop up? Because he when he shadow boxed in front of the mirror, I'm like, how the fuck he make his sweat pop off?
You're watching him sweat.
Yeah. Because I didn't know how the fuck he did it, man. I was like, he's sitting there like, how the fuck he get the mirror like that? And I'm sitting there trying to do what he do, and I'm like, I can't do it. But he was fast, man. His hands were, and this is when he was practicing for the Olympics. And man, his hands were a blur.
Why didn't you take that path? Like being a boxer. You're already fighting.
Yeah, I was already fighting, and fighting came natural for me, but I just didn't think about it. And I think that if I did take the path of boxing, and if I did take the path of martial arts, man, I would have definitely been in the Hall of Fame. Because everything came so easy. It's like, okay, I can watch someone do it. Like even with jiu-jitsu, when I was learning jiu-jitsu in Germany, I got like for maybe 6 months, I'm the guy who's like, hey, okay, today we're going to demonstrate armbar or guillotine. Come here, David. I was that guy, and I had to learn how to be in that position while he's giving instruction, while he's actually really choking me and shit. And it got to the point where it's like, okay, I'm learning. So then you learn how to breathe when you're getting choked, and you learn how to adjust your elbow or adjust your hand or adjust your arm while you're in the armbar, or adjust your knee to relieve some of the pain. And then I think about the 7th or 8th month, I got so good that I beat the instructor one day. And he wanted to fight me for real. I'm like, hey, I'm on the boxing team too, nigga. You good at this grappling shit, but my hands are nice.
Were you a belt?
Yeah, I was actually depends on the belt system that you want to go by. It would either be a blue belt or a purple belt, depending. Because there's different paths you can take. But I know I was in my 3rd belt.
What are the paths that you can take?
All right, so then at that time it was with the gi or without the gi. So without the gi is Valley Tudo, which is like, so you basically, I like using the gi because the gi is like a 3rd arm. So like if I'm putting you in the guillotine and I can't get this hand to where I need it to be, I can always grab my gi and make it tighter. And if you're choking me, I can pull my gi and bite it, and it will relieve the jugular. So you can breathe like, okay, I just gotta wait for his muscles to get tired. Like if he's like, if they really ramping up on it, if you bite your gi, you actually can breathe because you're not actually letting them, because the thing of the choke is to stop the jugular veins. So if you bite your gi and turn your head, you're getting a lot of face pressure, but you're not really hurting this jugular.
That makes sense.
But Valley Tudo is when you're doing it, you have to actually grab your arm, or you don't have a gi to use, basically. So it's without the gi. So I got good.
So which one you did with the gi?
I did with the gi.
So what is that called? So it's Valley
Gracie Jiu-Jitsu.
Oh, Gracie. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, it was Hickson, Gracie. And man, but see, a lot of people don't realize, like, when I was doing it, I'm doing it 3 hours a day, every day, except Sunday. But like Monday through Friday, we're doing it for 3 hours, right? Then Saturday you have to do, they call it the bullpen. So we form a circle on the mat. You get in, you get blindfolded. The other person gets in, they get blindfolded, and then they put your hand on their gi, their hand on your gi, and they say go. You have to go. It's 5-minute rounds. So when you're the one in the pin in the middle, whether you win or lose, after that 5 minutes, the next guy jumps out, the new guy jumps in. So the only thing you have to do is time to adjust your gi, tighten your belt back up, make sure your mask is your mask is good. Good, ready, go. So you doing that straight 40 minutes. Straight 40 minutes. And then after you go, then the next person jumps in.
So if you win, you keep going, or if you lose?
Win or lose, you stay in the middle. The next man just jumps on you. And if he was being an asshole that day, it's like, okay, so say this guy, his name was Mike, right? He was the first guy that actually choked me out. So, man, I didn't realize that the chokes really work that fast. You know, a lot of people think that, oh no, it's gonna take about 2. No, it's seconds when they do it right. So this guy named Mike, he was a yellow belt, and I was like, I'm gonna fuck this nigga up, because he was like 130 pounds, but I was 190 pounds ripped, because I was on a boxing team, jiu-jitsu team, and I played flag football. And, you know, I would do road marches, and so then you're still doing the workouts from the military too.
Yeah.
So like, I'm gonna fuck this dude up. And I went in and I picked him up. And I'm thinking I'm gonna slam the shit out of him. When I had him in the air, he put a guillotine on me. And I was out before we hit the ground.
So you remember this, and then waking up like, what the fuck?
Hey man, I remember I grabbed him, and I remember him doing it. I'm like, what the fuck? And then I was like, okay, I'm fading. Then you start seeing little dots and shit. I'm like, what the fuck? And then I went down to my knee and I just laid him down softly. And I remember him just laying on his chest. I'm like, why the fuck am I laying on this nigga's chest? Hey, and look, I'm thinking about that sweat. Hey, look, so I'm like, why the fuck am I, my arms are like, I remember my arms being flat on the mat. I'm like, why the fuck am I laying on this nigga's chest? And he just kicked me off me and just rolled over. And then like, when they rolled me over, I couldn't open my eyes. And they slapped the shit out of me. And I'm like, man, I see stars. Man, my face felt like it went to sleep. Damn. Man, yeah, he choked the shit out of me. I'm like,
so you were the asshole that day.
Yeah. So I was like, I'm gonna slam the shit out of this little nigga.
Why? Just because?
Because I'm just like, I was always the dummy, man. I was always getting armbarred, and you know, like I remember being in the triangle choke, and he choked me so hard, man, snot shot out my nose. I was like, what the fuck, dude? You ain't have to go, man. We ain't doing this shit for real.
All right. Your instructor?
No, it was another guy. His name was Mike too, but he was good. Mike, both Mikes were good, but the other Mike, the one that put me in the triangle choke, he after he put a move on me, he explained, okay, you got to make sure that the arm is across the face. You got to put your leg behind it. You know, he'll give you a block of instructions on how he did it. You know, so you know, I got used to getting arm barred by him, so my pain tolerance went up. Cause he like arm bars, I like leg locks. I like making the knees and ankles pop. Yeah, so that was my specialty. I'm just like, okay, we gonna work this, but
mobile.
Yeah, I'm just like, man, I gotta get to that. I gotta get to the leg. I gotta get to the leg. Yeah, those are the good old days, man.
You should take jiu-jitsu again.
I don't know, my body. I just shit. When I was 45, I was doing taekwondo. But man, it takes so long when you actually do a tournament, it takes a long time for my body to heal back up. I remember, man, sparring all the time, and when I was a yellow belt, and I was trying to get my green belt in taekwondo, this black belt, man, he would always kick me full force every time. And I remember I got a good liver kick on him. We were going, because you can't punch in the face, so it was like, okay, but I would always swing my hand to distract him, and then I threw a kick to his liver, and he's like, oh, okay, okay, and I'm like, oh shit. And man, he did a
Calf kick,
side
calf
kick, and I like went to block. Man, I felt my bone in my arm bend. I think if I was a little bit closer, he would have broke my arm with his kick, man. I'm like, man, why the fuck you kick, man? Man, I was mad as shit, but I knew I couldn't beat him. I'm like, motherfucker, man, you almost broke my arm. What the fuck?
Roundhouse. Shut your ass up.
Man.
Well, speaking of fights and kicks and jiu-jitsu, let's talk about the UFC. Look out for my podcast from my wife. We'll be naming that later. But
Okay.
we'll be talking about the UFC and all the fights come up in Bellator. And one fighting is coming to America, so you gotta get to that as well.
Okay.
So we got the Israel Adesanya fight.
Israel. I want Israel.
You going Israel?
I want Israel. I like his style. I like that he's diverse. I like that he has good takedown defense. I love his striking.
Yeah.
He makes shit. I'm as much as I don't like John Jones. John Jones is a great fucking striker, man. I just think it's dirty that he be trying to kick people's knee.
No, that's legal.
It's legal, but I think it's dirty. I think it's dirty that he intentionally pokes people in the eye.
It's not legal, but it's a good strategy.
In a street fight, it's a great strategy.
Even in the UFC, they give you the warning first.
I know, but they.
If I already fucked you up, then there you go.
Yeah, that's the only thing I don't like.
I agree with you. It's tactics.
Yeah.
I think Israel, I got you. Like, I want to go with you. However, Alex Pereira is a beast, and he already beat Israel twice. Now that doesn't mean that Israel has not improved.
Right.
I think he has improved. I think he's improved ever since he's been in the UFC. Every fight he's improved.
Yeah, but he beat Israel in kickboxing.
Agreed. But that's what they're going to do. The great Chael Sonnen has pulled out the stat. Neither one of them has ever taken anyone down. Have never even shot a takedown. So we know it's a stand-up fight. Unless that is the strategy that Israel wants him to think. And he is going to take him down. And he is going to wrestle. And he is going to try to win that way. Because think about it, Pereira has to take the belt.
Right.
As much people don't like to admit it, the UFC is about, all titles are about taking the belt. You can't just go in there and put in a good show. And like, oh, well, maybe. If there's a maybe on there, it's going back to the champion. Because you don't want to dethrone the champion without solid evidence. Or they're going to call it a draw.
I say don't leave it to the judge.
But that's
Yeah.
not always by choice.
I don't think, I like the Tony Ferguson and Nate Diaz fight. I like that they put it on the fucking line every fucking round. And I told your Uncle Don, like, if Ferguson goes for a takedown, he's gonna lose to a Diaz because Diaz knows jiu-jitsu and they're good at it.
Yeah.
And you got to give it to both Diaz brothers. Even though they may bleed, them motherfuckers are tough as fuck.
Yeah. And one thing I would now that you bring that up, Tony was kind of known to, if you get on the ground with them, it's a wrap. And now that I see that Diaz, I mean, they're both out of their prime. But even in their prime, I think it probably would have still been the same result.
Right.
If he taken them down, Diaz was going to win there.
Right.
Which then lets me believe that the only person that could possibly take Diaz on the ground and maybe do something would be Khabib. And that would be. I agree, but I would have loved to see that fight. Because I don't think Khabib's beating him with a stand-up, so it's going to have to go to the ground.
Oh, yeah.
So you're wrestling versus his jiu-jitsu. Crazy. No one really has jiu-jitsu like that.
Right.
Besides, what's that one young white dude? He's a farmer. He always gets people in the twister.
Oh, Matt Hughes?
No, not Matt Hughes. No, he's a fighter now.
Oh.
He's a fighter now. I can't remember his name. I think you know what I'm talking about if anybody watched UFC. He's amazing. He gets you on the ground. It's a wrap. So I think he's the only one with that bar of jiu-jitsu because everybody else usually just tries to stand up.
Right.
Or wrestle.
Right.
And wrestling is not jiu-jitsu. So.
Yeah, there's a difference. But I think a lot of people, other than, what's his name, that he won with the Darce choke against Holland. Chimaev, man, that was
wrestling though. He wrestled the fuck out. Oh my god.
Yeah, that's the only wrestler I'm just like, man, I'm fucking amazed.
That
because
crazy.
the constant reversals. But I'm like, every time he reversed it, he got tighter and tighter. I'm like, fuck, Holland, what the fuck would you go to the ground for?
He didn't try to. He didn't try to. Chimaev took him down immediately, but when he got back up, I was hoping he was going to stay away from him.
Yeah.
But
Chimaev knew that he ain't with them hands.
See, and that's the one thing I don't like about the UFC, because, like, to be honest, if you're fighting someone who has no wrestling defense, it's easy.
It's over.
Yeah, and even though it's mixed martial arts, it's not boxing.
Right.
It's not kickboxing.
Right.
So you have to be well rounded, but that sucks because you don't really get the true fight, you know? So, I don't know.
And shout out to the original MMA fighter, Bruce Lee. He did fencing, he did judo, he did Wing Chun, he did Kung Fu, stick fighting, you know, nunchucks, bow staff.
He knew all the arts.
The original MMA fighter. Shout out to Bruce Lee.
Yeah, Bruce Lee is a tough one, man. Michael Jai White is the modern day martial artist, in my opinion.
Him and Scott Atkinson.
Is that the guy from Raid? No, Tony John.
Tony John.
Oh.
But he's only kickboxing, which he does a great fucking performance on all his fucking movies. I just wish they were in English.
I like that though.
I mean, I get, but I just wish they was in English. I don't want to read subtitles when I'm watching somebody get kicked in the face. But
Raid. Have you ever seen the Raid movies? Raid.
Yes.
Raid and Raid Redemption. Man, amazing.
Yeah. See, I wish those were in English. Those were great fucking movies. If you transfer them motherfuckers to English, I think they would make a lot more money. I mean, those movies are fucking action, constant action all the way through the fucking movie.
The closest thing we get to that is John Wick.
Hey, shout out to Keanu Reeves, man.
Yeah, man.
I envy him for the training that he gets on the weapons, the martial arts. You know, because you figure he did the Matrix, which was Kung Fu. John Wick is definitely judo, jiu-jitsu type fighting. Very down and dirty. Maybe a little bit of
Thai boxing.
not so much Thai boxing, but yeah, I love Thai boxing because it's 8 limbs. But I think that the differences in each style. So, like for me, I think Taekwondo has the strongest kicks. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I think they have the strongest kick, but I think the most effective kicks are probably from Muay Thai.
I would say they have the best strikes because you're using your elbows.
Yeah.
And they're coming from different angles.
Exactly.
Which Taekwondo, karate, Kung Fu, you're not really using your elbows like that.
No, I meant with the kicks, just solely with the kicks. I think, I guess every form, even karate, you can angle your kicks, but I think the way the striking is in Taekwondo with the kicks is more quick strikes, quick effective strikes to the calf,
right,
to the thigh,
right,
to the arm, quick. You know, with the fucking Taekwondo with the roundhouses and the spins and all that stuff, it's probably way more powerful and everything like that. But if you want to just go with the powerful kick, it would be what's that? It's the dance. Capoeira is considered the most deadliest when it comes to just a kick.
But I love how beautiful capoeira is. But if I'm in a bar, you ain't gonna be doing that shit between tables.
No, but it's the way, the momentum of the kick because there's
especially like matter of fact, like you said, Michael Jai White. I just watched a movie with him in Brazil, and this dude did a front cartwheel and kicked the shit out of it. I'm like, fuck, that looked pretty, but if you got, cause basically you're doing a flip and coming down with an axe kick.
Yeah.
So I can say, but I just don't see that being an effective self-defense in like a bar scene because. You know, like
Taekwondo is?
Fuck yeah.
I mean, you can get the push kicks or the front kicks and the roundhouses, but you need room with that, and that's why I said Muay Thai is that I can be right up on you and just the quick kick. And
with Muay Thai, I would think you want to use the elbows.
Yeah, but you were asking just the kick.
Yeah.
So that's why I said that.
Man, so what do you think is the most effective martial art?
Taekwondo. I think wrestling, if you want to get Oh yeah, okay. The most, I guess. God.
For self-defense, the reason I would say not wrestling is because of the fact that if you're on the ground, you're subject to get kicked in the face by someone else.
Yeah.
I would rather dispatch you and still be standing.
The problem is that most fights end up on the ground.
Correct.
So having a great wrestling base or even jiu-jitsu base is you're putting yourself ahead of the curve.
Yeah, most definitely.
That's why it's the most effective when it comes to just like a street fight.
But jiu-jitsu doesn't have a lot of strikes.
Nah, that's why I would say
Yeah.
tie. But you just run the risk of if you're on the ground, you're fucked. So,
Yeah.
so that's the trade-off when
Right.
it comes to that. So
Yeah, that's why, Arcade, what do you think is your weapon of choice?
ooh, a gun.
I'm gonna say 2 weapons of choice.
A gun and a gun. Or you mean just
Yeah, you could.
Hand.
Yeah, the gun could be a choice. You know,
okay?
so-
Gun and I would say. That's a good one.
Mine would be a Glock, either 40 or 45 caliber, or Karambit baton.
So that's what I was thinking. I was thinking a knife. I was like, nah, I don't want a knife fight. So
Yeah, but that Karambit, cutting ligaments.
all the way back up. That's why I said the gun. But hey man, yeah, just a firearm, honestly. And what's the stick?
Baton.
The one I had.
The rattan.
Yeah, the rattan.
Yeah.
I think that's a great weapon. Like keeping people off you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Breaking limbs.
Oh, fuck, yeah.
So
yeah.
I think that's a great weapon. And
See, that's why I say baton, because the baton is just a collapsible version of that, and it's steel.
the nigga beater.
Fuck. Hey, man, I'm telling you, if I could take something 3 inches and make it 12 inches and hit you in the damn eye socket,
That's crazy.
cheekbone, if I break your collarbone, if I break your wrist, your hand, you ain't gonna do shit. If I hit you in the elbow,
I think it's cheating.
nah. You ain't gonna see it coming. You might hit that motherfucker transform.
See what I'm saying, man? Nah, that's cheating, man. It's metal. It's
Yeah,
metal.
hit that motherfucker with some steel.
It's a wrap. What would you say the most effective boxing style is? Orthodox,
Well,
southpaw.
that part doesn't matter because of the fact it's just left-handed or right-handed.
But
I think a lot of people that don't, if you don't practice against a southpaw, you're gonna run into the strong hand all day, because when you're orthodox, I tend to go left, and if I'm going left, I'm going to their strong hand. So you just got, for me, is if I see him standing southpaw, I'm going to keep going right, because I'm gonna tear the outside of their damn leg up until they change stance.
But that's why I kind of lean towards the southpaw being the most effective, because, like you said, most people don't train against it. Plus, your dominant hand, if your dominant hand that way, is in the front. Yes, you get the most power with your dominant hand. However, you don't need a little bit of power to put somebody down.
Right.
So I can have my left hand back, and as you were saying, like if you're gonna keep just by habit coming this way to my dominant. So I think you have the most to gain with a southpaw, I think. Was Mayweather a southpaw?
He can switch.
He can switch.
Yeah.
He's always be good to switch.
Yeah, definitely practice both.
Yeah.
Even in firearm training, practice with your non-dominant hand, because if something happens to your dominant hand, you're gonna look retarded trying to shoot with your non-dominant hand. So
Limp wrist head.
yeah. Bang, bang.
we don't mean the infinity body.
ABC. Nah, cut that part out.